Welcome to Psychic Holistic Spotlight. My name is Mariah Almonte. Our co-hosts tonight will be Ken Demers and Kathy Medeiros. And as a special guest, we have not only a friend of mine, but someone who is well-schooled in the Abraham Hicks phenomena. Abraham being non-physical entities that are channeled by Esther Hicks. And so Mary introduced me to this topic at a spiritual center we attend, and we're going to find out what are the nuances of this channeling, how it can help us, how it's helped me, how it's helped Mary. So Mary.
Yes, well, I am just very excited and honored to be here. And my name is Mary Broomall, and I'm a student of the Abraham Hicks work. Esther Hicks got started in this phenomena, as Mariah called it, about 25 to 30 years ago. She and her husband, Jerry was always a seeker. Jerry was always looking for answers to many, many metaphysical questions. And he was very open-minded, and he ran into some work called, by Jane Roberts, called The Seth Speaks. Some of you may have heard of that. It's also channeled information, so it's non-physical entities. And at first, Esther wouldn't, she said, I don't mind you reading that, but I don't want you bringing that in the bedroom. She didn't like it. She was nervous about it. She didn't know what it was. She didn't understand non-physical energy. It was a whole new concept for her. So at first she was, and Jerry, being a good person, backed right off and did not inflict any of his knowledge on her. He simply would read something to her over breakfast or sometime during the day, and it would end up that she felt like that was truth to her, that was real, that made sense. It made a lot of sense to her, the work. So she became more and more open, and then eventually they started meditating, and that was a whole new phenomena for them as well. And eventually, a non-physical entity started communicating through Esther, and she didn't really even believe it or understand it, but she allowed it. And at first it started with, it's very funny if you ever hear their story, it started with her nose. It started with her writing letters with her nose. As she was meditating one day, she realized, oh, I'm making letters with my nose. And that is the very humble beginning that all of this work began with. And eventually...
She was tracing them out in the air?
She was actually, yes. And then eventually it went to handwriting. And then eventually in speaking. And in her very, very early work, it's kind of a funny sounding voice. Her voice changes and it gets kind of deliberate and low like this, and it sounds really, really funny to people. And eventually, as the years passed, she got more and more comfortable with this entity speaking through her. And now, when you hear Esther Hicks speak with Abraham channeled through her, it's just like any other voice, any other conversation.
It's her voice.
It is her voice. It's very much her voice. And so a friend of mine about, I guess it's been 12, 14 years now, a friend gave me a CD one day. And she said, here, I think you'd like this. So I took it and put it in my car. And I didn't really know what it was. I asked her what it was. She said, oh, it's just some metaphysical information. I think you'll enjoy it, because she knew I liked that kind of stuff. And I heard this CD, and I remember calling her afterwards and just going, well, what is this? I mean, what is it really? It's this woman talking, but speaking of herself while she's talking, and she's saying we and they. In other words, there were several entities that were channeling through her. In fact, Abraham describes it. I printed something out, one of the responses they had to someone asking, what exactly is this Abraham. Abraham, by the way, they named themselves. She asked, "What shall we call you?" And they said, Abraham.
So it's not the Abraham from the Bible.
No, not specifically the Abraham. No, that's just a name that they chose. And Abraham is not a singular consciousness, as you feel that you are in your singular bodies. Abraham's a collective consciousness. It's a stream or river of consciousness. So there are many, many consciousnesses responding to a question, but it's coming through one person, so there's a cohesiveness to it. There's a good feeling it's connected. Mm-hmm. So that's how I got started in the work, and I just loved the information I was getting. It felt so affirming, so real, so true. It spoke to something inside of me.
What type of information are they bringing through?
Well, generally they offer seminars where for the first 15 or 20 minutes, Abraham, through Esther, will talk to raise the vibration in the room. So let's start with vibration then. So if you have the understanding or the belief that we're vibrational beings in physical bodies, we're spiritual beings in physical bodies, then, and if you understand physics at all, you know that because of the progress that's been made in the field of physics and in science, where they can measure so much of what they couldn't necessarily measure before. So, in other words, now, according to Deepak Chopra and many other people, if you took a microscope and looked at a cell, at the cellular level, we've always thought that there was a cell wall, and then there was interstitial fluid within the cell, and then a center to the cell. And it was believed that the center of the cell was the solid part of the cell. Now, through science, we find that looking through this much stronger microscopes that we have now, there's actually nothing within the cell. Even the nucleus of the cell is nothingness. So what we are is vibrational beings. Even though we seem real and this seems like matter, it's actually creation. This is how creation happens. So according to Esther, there are certain steps to be taken to create what it is you want in your life, because that's what she's addressing. After 10 or 15 minutes of raising the vibration in the room, so it's at a higher level of frequency, then she invites people to come up to the hot seat, what she calls the hot seat. And that is simply someone in the audience has a question, and so they come up and sit in a seat in front of Abraham and they ask their question. They're always personal questions, or they may be universal questions. But it could be simple as, I need to make more money, I want more money. How do I get a relationship into my life? How do I find the perfect way for me to make a living? What is it, these are the different questions, and they are pretty universal questions when you come down to it. People want to know, how can I do better in some area of my life? And that's what she is essentially talking about.
Now, Abraham, is that the consciousness from a particular area of the universe, or like a planet, or just a little bit of everything?
No, just, I guess you would say a little bit of everything. She doesn't distinguish universes.
Okay.
So, no, she's mostly talking about creating the things that you want in your life. What is it that you want in your life?
So, what kinds of things? We just got back from a cruise with Abraham.
Yes.
And I learned a lot, and I'll address that maybe. But what kinds of things, what was the question I was going to ask? What kinds of things does she teach you how to get what you want?
Okay.
How does she teach you that?
Are you calling that manifesting? Is that what you're saying?
Manifesting,
okay.
Yes. So to manifest something, yes. And we manifest all day, every day. Because we have thoughts, and thoughts are actually things. Thoughts are vibration. You're a vibration, you're a vibratory being emitting vibrations all day long. And you emit through the thoughts you think, you emit through your emotions. Your emotions actually show you where you are in relation to the thing you want. So if you said, I would like to, I would like more money. Let's just use that one because a lot of people want more money. That's an easy one. Abraham likes to say it's as easy to create a button as a castle. In other words, the universe doesn't recognize that something is easier or harder than something else in order to manifest. And in, the first step to creation is a desire, a thought for something. And we do that all day, every day, because what we do is, she calls it launching a rocket of desire, because contrast causes you to ask all day, every day for what it is you want. And contrast in this context is, I know what I don't want, so I know what I do want. So someone cuts in front of you in traffic and you don't want that, and what you do want is for everybody to drive better. So contrast is just the stuff that comes up for us each and every day, and the thought that we send out in response to that, that is allowing those vibrations to go out into the universe, and therefore law of attraction gets triggered. So, law of attraction. It's such a buzzword. So many people have heard of law of attraction now. It's really a wonderful thing. But in this, the way I'm talking about law of attraction here is that, let's say you have this thought that you would like more money, and you send out that rocket of desire, I want more money. And the universe answers that immediately. But some people say, well, then why don't I have what I want? Why didn't it come to me? So then we look at thoughts as things. We say, what was your thought about that? A lot of times you think you're thinking, I want more money, and you say, oh, I believe I'll get more money. But what you're feeling is the lack of money. So it really involves the thoughts, which are vibratory, and then the emotions that go with it. So if you are saying, I want more money, I need more money, they have more money, how come I don't have as much money as they do? I think they should give me some of their money. I think, money, money, money. All you're doing is sending out a message to the universe that you want. And therefore, the universe can only give you more wanting. It can't deliver the money to you.
And it's actually presenting the opposite of what you want, because remember the example she gave of the train. I remember.
Oh, yes.
You send out rockets of desire for money, okay?
Yeah.
And then the engine is pumping money, and you think, but wait a minute, I don't have it right now, and how can I get that? Oh, I hurt my leg. And you keep, so there's what do you call it? It's
You've got your train going in opposite directions.
Right, so you can't achieve that desire because really you believe that you can't.
That's right. And Esther says, as Abraham, a belief is only a thought that you keep thinking. So if you think about that, it's really interesting that thoughts are very, very powerful. And often we're not mindful of our thoughts. We do what she calls sloppy thinking. So until we are very mindful of what kind of thoughts we're putting out there, we're attracting all kinds of things. We're kind of doing the hokey pokey. Yeah, I want more money. Yeah, but I don't have any money. Yeah, but I really need to get money before that happens. Yeah, but I don't know how that's going to happen. And another little saying that I love is, it's really none of your business how you're going to get the money. It is your business what you want. So if you want the money, how it's coming to you can trip you up because you think it should come through a certain channel. But in the Abraham Hicks teaching and many other teachings, that is, that is not the case.
So it's definitely, we need to worry about the what, not the how at all.
That's right.
'Cause the how
Thank you
will
very
come.
much. Yes, exactly. How it's coming to you isn't any of your business. The universe can deliver it in many, many, many ways. And you may not have any idea exactly how it manifested, but there it is. I bet everybody has an example in their lives of an issue or something that they were concerned about that turned into nothing, that it was resolved before it even became something big. And that's the best time to catch something, is before you've got a lot of momentum in the thought. Once that momentum gets going and the law of attraction is delivering back to you what you say you want, that's often your first clue that maybe you aren't sending out the right message. Another analogy she uses is a stick. So what you want is money. Money is the stick. And on one end of the stick, you have all the money you want or need, and the other end of the stick is lack of money. And which end of the stick are you sending out your thoughts about? Because that is what will bring the reality into your
What other subjects besides manifestations do they work with?
Well, manifestations of all different kinds. It doesn't have to be, you mean, a solid thing. It doesn't have to be money, or it could be relationship. It could be better health. It could be anything at all. Anything at all.
Communication, job, whatever.
Yep. And health is a tricky one, too. I know that if something is going on with your body, it is simply a reflection of what is going on in your mind, what is going on at the cellular level in your mind. What you think affects your body. So health, when you don't feel well and you get a diagnosis by a doctor, it can be a very frightening experience, because it's almost as if the doctor is right. We give our power over to a diagnosis, when actually we need to give our power over to God, to the universe, to source, for whatever you want to call that, because that is where the healing can happen. And so to be open-minded in anything that you're facing, to be open and turn to the perfect guidance system that we all have within us. Each and every one of us has that divine guidance system.
So we need to show up to receive it. We need to, like, there might be clues, like grab the brass ring. So we need to be keep our vibration high, so that we can hear spiritually.
Yes, and in fact, there's a lot of information out there on Abraham Hicks, and this book, Ask and It Is Given, was one of their early works, and in it there are several processes for manifesting what it is you would like. And one of the things they talk about in here is your emotional guidance scale. And what I love about the emotional guidance system is that you can change your emotion. You can make a decision to change how you feel about something. You can make that decision. And in doing that, you can actually change your reality. And they talk about how, I wanted to mention affirmations. Sometimes people say to me, why don't affirmations work? I've been doing this affirmation and it doesn't always work. Well, perhaps you're saying the words, but you have no emotion behind it that speaks to the truth of that affirmation. So your emotions are your indicator of where you are energetically. And at the top of the high vibration, as you say, emotion is joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation, all of those. And at the bottom, the lower, slower deeper vibration levels are fear, grief, depression, despair, and then everything else falls in between. And you can actually move yourself up the emotional scale to make a difference in how things are or are not manifesting for you. So the emotional scale is a very important piece. Your emotions are your indicator for your inner guidance
You
system.
can't have any doubt that it's going to happen, because if you have doubt, that'll negatify everything.
Yes, that's right. Doubt is kind of doing the hokey pokey. You know, doubt is saying, well, I'd really like it to happen, but I'm not so sure it would happen. That's your doubt.
Yeah,
As soon as you send out that vibration of doubt, what you're asking for in the positive, it gets watered down. And the universe can't deliver that to you as long as you're doing yes, no, maybe, maybe not.
It's not a clear channel.
Exactly.
Something that worked for me in the cruise that we took was, it's simplistic, and that's why it works for me. It's if you're having a feeling, so it's not what I want to feel. It feels lousy. So we all know what the opposite of lousy is, and then you can automatically like shoot your rockets of desire into the opposite of what you're feeling. So the clue is, I'm feeling this way, I don't like it, I want to get out of here. And I know, we all know what the opposite of that lousy feeling is.
Yes.
So we have the tools
Yes.
right there.
We do. We have the tools, but it's also, Abraham talks about how sometimes we get hung up because we're trying to reach too high. We're in, so say you were in the emotional place of discouragement. Say you were discouraged about something, and you don't want to feel discouraged, you want to feel better about it. So the next emotion up would be blame, and then worry, doubt, disappointment, overwhelmment, frustration. But you could probably take yourself from discouragement up to frustration about something, or up to even pessimism, which is above, believe it or not, discouragement, or anger. Anger.
Just still another step above.
Anger, yes, anger actually is, all the emotions are helpful because they're all indicators. So if you can move yourself up the emotional scale, sometimes an affirmation or something you're wanting so badly, an affirmation is, it's going to happen at a very high level. And you're really down here in disbelief and doubt. So to help yourself move up, there are lots of processes in this book that can help you do that. And as you said, Mariah, you can, simplistic is good. Keeping it simple is good. Abraham likes to keep it simple. It's basically that you have a desire, you shoot that rocket of desire, Source answers it right away, and the work is the third step, which is you lining up with what you want vibrationally so that the universe must deliver it to you. It is law. It is law. It isn't something made up. It's law.
So it really just comes down to energy as well. Like
Yes,
how much
it
energy you want to put
does.
into whatever it is.
And what kind? What is the quality of the energy you're putting in? Is it really doubtful that you'll get the thing you want, or do you really believe? Can you line yourself up with such a strong belief you can feel it, you can sense it, you can taste it, you have all your senses up around it? That is being that open channel so it can be delivered to you.
Of course, then there's the problem that when it's delivered to you, you may choose not to take it and it goes away.
I guess.
Again, that has to do with belief, though. Are you worthy? Do you believe you're worthy
No,
enough to?
Sometimes you might be manifesting something, a car, all right? And the perfect car for you will be presented, and you say, "No, I don't think so." The opportunity to get what you've been manifesting for will just go away.
Very good point. And Abraham would say to that, it's as if, my ship came in and I wasn't at the dock. And the point being, there's always another ship There's always another ship, there's
There's
another
another
car,
manifestation.
there's another everything. There isn't just one. The universe is abundant. Everywhere you look, there's abundance in the universe. My goodness, if you don't believe it, look at your garden in the summer and look at the weeds everywhere.
I got some really nice weeds.
There you go.
You've got 5 minutes, Mary.
Yes.
Do you want to address these questions or something else from your
Well, one of the questions is, or one of the cards, the Abraham Hicks cards, which are also available, their website is abrahamhicks.com. I will never get there, so I will enjoy my journey. The point being, you can never get there because you're an infinite being. There is no...
No finish line.
There's no finish line. That's good. And as for death, whenever Abraham is asked a question about death, what is death really? The answer is always, there is no such thing as death as you humans mean it. That actually, we're as dead as it gets. That's what they like to say. We're as dead as it gets, and you're a consciousness, you are consciousness, you remain consciousness after you leave your physical body.
The transformation.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
What do the religions think of that point of view?
I guess every religion will have their own opinion of that.
Well, I'm thinking in terms of like abortion or something, where basically that entity that's being aborted came in for a particular experience and then it just goes back for another one.
Well, I guess it depends what your belief is. Is your belief that inspiration comes with the breath, that the first breath is universal energy, source, God, whatever you call it, entering you. And of course, in our bodies at the cellular level, we are energy as well. So I'm not sure how that would be talked about. I know in science of mind, it's that's a whole other animal to talk about. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so we have 3 minutes. So if you don't mind,
Please.
how has, in your experience, this work changed? I've seen people, they were happy. The people on the cruise were happy people. I was kind of a little resentful about that. How did they get that way? They were genuinely happy and excited, and little fairies dancing around. So how has this teaching helped you or changed you, and maybe some others if you...
Well, it changed my view of God, if you will, of source, of universal energy. It changed how I thought about that. It was no longer that God is an entity outside of me. God is something out there. God is to be pleased. No, God manifests through me. God works through, and that is how manifestation happens. And
No, you are God.
Yes, I am that God seed. Yes,
spark of
as you
divinity.
are.
Yeah.
As Kathy is, as Mariah is, as we all are. Yes,
As my dog is.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, we're all connected.
Right.
But it also helps with the
You know that
manifestation.
center that I like to use atoms and stuff, but that center of that plant that you were talking about, that pure energy, that's God. That pure,
There you go.
We have
that pure energy.
1 minute. Mary,
Yes.
in this 1 minute, what would you like to impart to our audience to help them get
Yeah,
started?
how do
Oh, my
people get
goodness.
started interested in this?
Go see the website, abrahamhicks.com. Go to any bookstore and pick up any of their books. Ask and it is given, and getting into the vortex. Getting into the vortex is wonderful because it actually, you get a CD with it, and it's a meditation CD. So it addresses relationships and health and vocation and prosperity.
What do they mean by vortex?
Oh, that's
in
enough.
this
We don't have
case?
time to answer that question, do
Okay,
we?
the vortex is simply where all the thoughts go. Once a thought is thought, that is it.
Like
It's-
Akashic Records?
Yes, it's yes.
Mary, you might have to come back
Okay.
because now we have to wrap it up, and just try it. You might like it,
Yes,
audience.
yes,
And
do
at least
try
you'll
it.
get something from it. And thank you very much for coming. I
Well,
appreciate it.
thank
This is
you.
Mary
Thank you for
Broomwall.
having
Thank
me.
you, Kathy. Thank you. Welcome.
In the real world, she's a masseuse.
And yes, Mary's a masseuse also. So thank you for watching Psychic Holistic Spotlight.
Okay.
Just keep talking a little bit.
We keep talking a little bit.